Border Patrol agents to remove razor wire installed by Texas along the U.S.-Mexico border.
I sent Congress a comprehensive plan on immigration reform. My friends on the other side have done nothing with it.
Immigration laws already that exist in the United States of America that are contained in the letter that are provided to the President today.
And they rejected my recent request for an additional $3.5 billion to secure the border.
The right to remove dozens of miles of razor wire put up by the state of Texas.
Border battles. In a State of the Union address last night, President Biden discussed the crisis at the border and called on Congress to pass a bipartisan bill to fix it. Texas Governor Greg Abbott repeatedly took on the Biden administration, which he claims caused the crisis. He believes that the number one issue in America is securing the border, which he has failed to address. The governor fiercely opposes the bipartisan border security bill that President Biden is calling out Republicans for slaying. If Joe Biden really believes in compromise, he would work with the House chamber and the Republicans in the Senate. The Senate bill codifies what Donald Trump supports doing, which is actually enforcing the laws of the U.S. that already exist.
Border Patrol agents to remove razor wire installed by Texas along the U.S.-Mexico border.
It is a much higher number. The Biden administration has replaced detain and deport with catch and release.
We are adding more razor wire as we speak right now to make sure that we are doing even more.
Texas border town of Eagle Pass. This is at the center of this legal fight between the Biden administration.
I sent Congress a comprehensive plan on immigration reform. My friends on the other side have done nothing with it.
Governor Abbott has grabbed headlines with controversial moves, including busing immigrants to Democrat-led cities to relieve overcrowded border towns. He is also forging ahead with court battles over buoys in the Rio Grande razor wire and Eagle Pass, and the new law which would allow local police to arrest migrants for entering Texas illegally. A judge recently wrote that surges in immigration do not constitute an invasion, and that the word invasion is dangerous. To address the extraordinary dangers today, former President Trump will change all of that and restore normality to the immigration process. He has brought up the bipartisan border security bill, which many House Republicans have opposed. However, the governor's approach has been met with resistance from the majority of Americans, including Democrats, who say they do something about the border. In conclusion, the crisis at the border is a pressing issue that needs to be addressed by both the House and the Senate. Governor Abbott has taken on the Biden administration, but his approach has been met with resistance from the majority of Americans. It is crucial that the bipartisan border security bill is passed, as President Trump's actions have the potential to restore normalcy to the immigration process and protect the lives of those who come across the border illegally.
Immigration laws already that exist in the United States of America that are contained in the letter that are provided to the President today.
Trying to leave Cuba, Nicaragua, or Haiti, have agreed to begin a journey to America.
More than 700,000 illegals have been welcomed into our country illegally.
People come to America for a whole lot of different reasons, to seek new opportunity.
The Rio Grande crisis. The video highlights the shocking situation of a man named Lon Ratley, who has lived along the Rio Grande for around 20 years. He was alerted on his phone while away from his home and found a man walking around inside his living room. Lon, a retired Air Force colonel, was frustrated and had no way of doing anything. He broke through one of the lower windows using a sledgehammer and then broke into the house. Border Patrol arrived at a ranch near Lon's house about 20 minutes later, and they found the damage and the man on the phone. Lon told them that the man was in his 20s looking for a phone and claimed to have seen a phone in the house. However, there was no phone in the house, and the individual had a cell phone and was talking with someone when the Border Patrol arrived. Lon is pressuring charges against the man, who was turned over to Terrell County Sheriff Dad Cleveland. He is currently facing multiple charges, including charges for criminal mischief. As the governor of Texas, Ally deals with this issue every day and knows that the best people are those who immigrated legally and are angry about those who try to come across the border illegally. The Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas National Guard are arrested for terrorist watch lists, wanted for slaying, and those who came to Texas and committed slaying. There have been several slayings in Washington state, attacks across the country, and a slaying of a student at the University of Georgia. The situation is concerning and needs to be addressed to prevent further incidents. The issue of illegal border crossings, particularly by people who came across the border with Joe Biden's permission, has become the #1 issue in America. This is due to the catastrophe caused by Biden and the need for compromise. If Joe Biden truly believes in compromise, he would work with the House Chamber and House Speaker to pass an effective border security plan.
The Take Our Border Back convoy says it'll be calling on the government to address the crisis at the border.
The right to remove dozens of miles of razor wire put up by the state of Texas.
Judges to make the judgments on the spot, a new detection equipment to stop fentanyl from coming into the country.
They're here to both tour the border, to tour what we're doing with the buoys in the border, as well as
federal help and coordination with Texas over the growing number of asylum seekers arriving in their cities.
The Senate's bill was not a border bill, but a Ukraine funding bill that had some border issues attached to it. It did not secure the border, but codified illegal immigration. However, it received support from Senate Republicans who worked on this bill, and even the Border Patrol Union had endorsed the bill, calling it a step in the right direction and far better than the status quo. The president of the Border Patrol Union, Brandon Judd, discussed the ongoing crime at the border and the term invasion used to describe the situation. A federal judge appointed by Ronald Reagan said surges and immigration do not constitute an invasion under the Constitution. James Madison himself argued that invasion is an operation of war or military operation. In Texas, the White House has slammed many of Biden's actions as political stunts. There have been a 48% increase in crime in his county from 2020 to 2023, attributed to increased activity in the area. The sheriff of Cleveland reported a 48% increase in crime in his county from 2020 to 2023, which is attributed to the increase in activity in the remote area. Brandon Judd, the head of the Border Patrol Council, stated that they compromised solely to get more Border Patrol officers who could help secure the border. The Border Patrol Union's proposal to get more Border Patrol officers and immigration judges is not better than nothing. The way Joe Biden uses the Border Patrol and ICE to violate the laws of the U.S. is a false narrative and a piece of fiction. Joe Biden is not only not enforcing laws that enforce immigration in the U.S., but he is also violating laws passed by Congress that require the president to take action. This has led to the Democratic Party and the White House moving to the right on immigration, with the controversial decision to bust migrants to Democratic cities across the country being a political stunt. The time progression of Democrats has been slow, with Bill Clinton and Barack Obama discussing border security in the past 3 years. James Madison's words during the ratification conventions in Virginia were clear. States can use their militia to defend themselves from an invasion when the federal government refuses to do so. Texas is dealing with cartels who are smuggling people across the border, and the similarities between the two states are very close. Humanitarian dilemma. Joe Biden's policies have led to the lowest illegal border crossings in 40 years. However, if he left the policies inherited by Biden, there would be a far more secure border today. Texas faces legal challenges, such as buoys on the Grand Razor Wire in Eagle Pass, and a controversial law that would allow police officers to arrest migrants who entered the state illegally. Immigration enforcement should be up to the federal government, as the Constitution gives the authority to states to act when the federal government refuses to do so. In Texas, there is little infrastructure to get people out or get them out of the area, which is why there is not enough population to move people out. Sheriff Cleveland, a former Border Patrol officer, knows exactly what is happening in Terrell County and how to respond to the overwhelming number of people crossing the border.
And they rejected my recent request for an additional $3.5 billion to secure the border.
In a 5-4 vote Monday, the justices overturned a lower court ruling preventing officials from taking it down.
Biden's for a free and open border. Just tear down everything. Let everybody come. No restrictions.
As the president and his team continue working to deliver a historic bipartisan agreement on the border,
cracking down on illegal immigration, strengthening legal immigration, and protecting dreamers.
Sheriff Cleveland tells the story of Connell, who leaves their doors and windows unlocked, leaving food and water out because they know that individuals are likely to show up. The federal government has already said that it is not an invasion under the Constitution, raising questions about the harm that such language can do to the border. 3 Mexican nationals attempted to break into a barn in Terrell County, Texas, after walking for 20 miles to get food and water. The homeowners there did not press charges because they had sympathy for the situation. They were turned over to Border Patrol, and Sheriff Cleveland said they would be returned to Mexico. The federal judge of the Fifth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals has put a stay on that one single federal judge's ruling, and the Fifth Circuit Federal Court of Appeal will take it up. The verbiage is not intended to rile up people to commit crimes. Texas is a law and order state, and if an American citizen comes to the state to try to harm someone, they will be arrested and put in jail. The governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, describes himself as a pro-life advocate, but he also discusses the Alabama Supreme Court decision concerning IVF. He argues that the vast majority of people are not terrorists, criminals, thugs, and physical offenders, but rather people who have come from Indonesia for a better life, not lawfully. Texas has a law that exempted fertilized embryos from abortion laws in the state of Texas, but former President Trump's statement supports INR fertilization, which is supported by the majority of Americans. Greg Abbott acknowledges the challenges faced by homeowners, often part-time residents, who can be overwhelmed by break-ins and struggle to report them promptly. Another incident highlights the challenges faced by homeowners, often part-time residents, who can be overwhelmed by break-ins and struggle to report them promptly. Sheriff Ted Kahn notes that apprehending intruders is rare due to the remote locations of many homes, emphasizing the difficulties faced by law enforcement and responding to such incidents in the border region. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.